To help us unpack Eskom's financial situation is Financial Mail Deputy Editor Sikonathi Mantshantsha, who's with me in studio this afternoon. Welcome to you, Sikonathi, and thank you for coming in. So, a 15% salary increase is what the workers are asking for. Is that a reasonable demand?
Well, not in a country where the inflation rate is rising at less than 5% per annum, and certainly not in a company that cannot afford to pay current salaries, that cannot afford to pay all its operating costs, coal. It just cannot afford anything, Eskom, at this point. And 15% is a stretch, quite a stretch.
But the unions then are saying in response to that, that what we're seeing here is essentially workers who've done no wrong being punished for mistakes made by management, what they've called management's inefficiency in literally taking Eskom down the dump, if you will.
It is the very nature of trade unions to try and whip up emotions without totally ignoring the facts. And that's what they are doing here. In fact, SAFTU 2 days ago said it's not their fault that those people were hired. Eskom employs 16,110 more people than it should employ. That's 52%. It increased its workforce by 52% in 12 years. Those people are still doing the same job, 47,568 employees, doing exactly the same job that 31,458 people did in 2006. The output is the same. What are they doing? That's the start. Now, Eskom has had to borrow money on a 30-day emergency basis. That's a mashonisa loan from the PIC because it would have been unable to pay salaries. In November, Eskom confirmed that. They said we cannot pay our salaries beyond December. They went in January and got 5 billion rands from the PIC. Where is the 15% going to come from?
You talk about this increase in the number of employees at Eskom, but output is still very much the same. Does that then not speak to the union's point that management has then failed to optimize or capitalize, if you will, on this high volume of employees who should have been able to put it in better standing?
The truth of the matter about Eskom is that it's been a free-for-all. They hired all those people because the government failed to create jobs. Eskom seemed to have taken it upon itself to increase the jobs, absorb as many people as it could. Now that has come back to bite it. The reality of the matter is you've got 16,000 people there that are doing nothing. And let's go back. These are not the people that are building power stations. Additional people are building power stations and they are employed by the contractors building those stations. So what are the 16,000 people doing there? When the trade union says you are punishing people, how are you punishing them? By giving them salaries for doing nothing? Surely that's the best punishment anyone can get.
It's one thing to say they're doing nothing, but when you look at their argument as well, is that everything has gone up. Just this week we've seen a steep hike in the fuel price. They did not employ themselves, so it shouldn't be employees' problem that the company is now in crisis, as with any other organization.
It's certainly not an employee's problem that the company is in crisis. Yes, indeed, management has failed. Nobody denies that. Management has failed. What do the people do there? And would they prefer Eskom carrying on like it does, comes back to you and I and asks for yet another loan? This time give it 100 billion rands in cash. 4 years' time come again and ask for loan. They are borrowing money right now to pay debt and to pay workers whose output we do not see. That's the reality of the matter. Do the trade unions want to continue with that line where everybody will lose jobs? Or do they want to contain the costs and help the organization be what it should be, which is deliver services efficiently to the people of South Africa, charge fair prices for electricity, and everyone does their own bit. Consumers, you and I are paying today 5 times what we paid in 2006 for electricity. So the consumer has been taking the pain. Eskom's employees, their cost, as Kulupasiwe said earlier, have been rising by 16% a year for the past, give it 12 years. What have you been getting out of it? So it's the crooks that have been harvesting at Eskom, and then it's the employees that have been hired indeed by the politicians, except they did not exactly give them a job to do, because Eskom is still doing exactly what it was doing 6 years ago, and those are audited figures in Eskom's own financial reports.
So Eskom's credit ratings are a shambles. There's this new tough talk against bailouts that we're hearing from Treasury. Where does Eskom look to for assistance?
Assistance comes from within. Every company worth its salt should be able to self-fund, to be reliable, to be self-reliable. Eskom has got the ability to do that, but Eskom has for far too long allowed itself to be abused, one, by the politicians, and two, by the crooks that worked at Eskom and that still do, and three, by suppliers. It needs to start addressing its cost. The biggest cost base right now is coal, employees. Eskom pays about 33 billion rand in wages and salaries per year. In 2006, Eskom's revenue was 33 billion rand. Now, go figure. The whole thing that sustained Eskom and paid salaries of 31,000 people and supplied electricity and made a profit 6 years ago, that was the total revenue. Today, the total wage costs alone equal to 12 years of the costs alone today of the wages are equal to the total revenue of the group 12 years ago. Where is the output? What are those people doing there?
We are terribly out of time, but I do want to squeeze this in. One of the things that the unions are calling for is the resignation of CEO Phakamani Hadebe. Do you think of him as a man who possesses the skill and the willingness to resolve this impasse amicably?
It's quite interesting that they have not pointed or accused him of any wrongdoing, yet they just want him gone, because all of a sudden he's making Eskom look like it can work. He's making the company useful again. They want to go back to the corruption that we have seen. They have not accused him of anything yet. Maybe they will present evidence, and then we shall see.
All right, Sikonathi Mantshantsha from the Financial Mail there, speaking to us about that wage dispute at Eskom.